It's only been a week since one of the biggest events in the Amazing Digital Circus dropped. The Favorite Character Awards? Well, yeah, that too. But I'm talking about the intense and above all extensive 6th episode, whose ending left us on the edge of our seats. It was a shock to see the breaking point of a character like Jax, who went from being seemingly unbreakable to probably the most broken character in the digital circus. And as is tradition, we now have a long wait until the next episode answers the thousands of questions this chapter raised. Or do we? Here's the thing, long before episode 6 was even released, Gooseworx had already dropped several hints about what we might see in future episodes, like out-of-context dialogue, predictions of audience reactions, and even clues that, with the information we now have, suggest this episode would be the beginning of the end. Everything you're about to read is evidence building the case for episode 7 and its potential finale, one that might just piss a lot of people off. They already told us, and it was true. This episode was insane. It was a game changer in every sense of the word, boasting a longer runtime, significantly highlighting the insecurities of characters like Gangle and Ragatha, strengthening the group's bond and hinting at the wisdom and great mysteries that Kinger hides. And of course, we can't forget the reveal of why Jax is the way he is, and his supposed true intentions with his companions, to treat them like trash so that no one could ever feel anything close to affection for him. Deep down, he's just a poor soul who's all too aware of his actions, but is terrified to show how sorry he truly is. Not to mention, Pomni is now torn between hating him and feeling sorry for him. That final look she gives him tells us she might still try to help if he'd just let her. Meanwhile, we have Kane, who seems to be descending into a malfunction, one that could turn him from the cheerful ringmaster we knew into an AI that will turn against everyone. Okay, a lot of people didn't want most of this to happen, especially those who were hoping Jax would finally stop being so closed off and open up to Pomni. However, the series is not about romance, and it certainly isn't trying to please its fandom, not like Glitch, which discreetly feeds the Funny Bunny fans Papa Glitch. Their reaction to this episode was very divided, which was to be expected. We were already warned that from here on out, things would get pretty turbulent. But if this was just the beginning, what will episode 7 be like? It's no secret that Gooseworx is extremely active on social media. She's always sharing her opinions on her characters, making jokes about them, confirming that the series is not a romance while still letting the fandom ship whoever they want, and stressing that this show is not for kids. But the place we've gotten the most information is from her Q&As. We'll be grabbing details about episode 7 from those Q&As, as well as from things said on a Jobby the Hunk stream. Several important facts were revealed. First, there was a lot of speculation about how long it would take for the rest of the episodes to come out. Since episodes are now pushing past the 30-minute mark, it would be logical to think they take longer to finish. Keep in mind that Glitch doesn't just have Digital Circus on its plate right now. There's also the highly anticipated Gaslight District, which has a lot of people intrigued and waiting for its first season. However, there's really no need to worry. Gooseworx revealed that they won't make the same mistake they did with Digital Circus and Murder Drones, where working on both at the same time led to excruciatingly long waits. Since DC is the only show currently airing, they can dedicate all the necessary time to it, meaning the episodes shouldn't take too long to come out. After all, there are only 3 episodes left to finish the series, and after that they can work on Gaslight District without any setbacks. So don't be surprised if episode 7 drops sooner than expected. Being optimistic, episode 8 could even arrive by the end of this year, but even if it's just episode 7, that would be more than enough. The second interesting piece of information is that episode 7 was rewritten several times to, obviously, perfect it and ensure its quality. But, in Gooseworx's own words, she's intrigued to see how the audience will react to this chapter, hoping that it will, and I quote, really piss them off. Why? Well, we know what she's like. The best way to describe her style is that scene where Jax reveals his supposed true intentions. She plays with her characters like they're her toys, making the viewer believe the worst is over and they can be saved, which is clearly not the case. If it were, we wouldn't have the thousands of iconic scenes in the series, like the Gummy Goo incident, the moment Gangle gets run over, or for that matter, the entirety of episode 6. She doesn't do it out of malice, it's her series after all. She's just interested in seeing how the good part of the fandom will react to whatever happens next. Other details that have been revealed over time include, unlike previous episodes, it's not clear who the central character of the episode will be. It's not like the last episode where Jax was clearly the focus. To this, we can add a comment from Michael Kovac, the voice actor who brings Jax to life. He wrote a post thanking everyone for the feedback on his performance in episode 6, stating he's very excited for the audience to see more. Gooseworx replied to him, "Your performance makes this character work so well, I can't wait until everyone gets to hear how much you kill it in the rest of the show, because goddamn, your best moments haven't even happened yet." In other words, if what we saw in the last episode left our jaws on the floor, what's coming for Jax in the next episodes will make us fall right out of our chairs. It's said that it could be a very emotional episode, and to be honest, we're due for another one that leaves everyone on the verge of tears. We have enough suffering from the Pomni and Jax divorce. course. It's also clear the episode will be one of the 30+ minute ones, and most curiously, it might have a cliffhanger at the end that connects to episode 8. For anyone unfamiliar with the term, a cliffhanger is an unresolved ending to a story that leaves you hanging, revealing that it's not the end, but rather an open ending that will be continued later. Think of the end of Across the Spider-Verse, only with the Amazing Digital Circus, we'll be waiting months, not 4 years. Let's look at what we know. It's not really necessary to guess which character might take the lead. All the main characters have had their moment in the spotlight, exploring their fears and insecurities enough that they don't necessarily need another episode centered on them. That doesn't mean their development is over. Despite it not being their episode, Ragatha and Gangle made great strides in their character growth last time, so everyone can perfectly share the focus without issue. Next, Goose's comments about episodes 7 and 8 confirming they are connected as a two-parter. She described the first as a huh and the second as an oh. This means episode 7 will end with a huge question mark hanging in the air, and the next episode will leave us stunned by the outcome. And finally, the line of dialogue Gooseworx revealed in response to a question. You're only making the joke take longer. So here's how it could go down. After the events of the Favorite Character Awards, we'd see the group members have grown closer to each other, all except for Jax, who would try to act like nothing happened as usual. The difference is that now everyone knows what he's like, so neither Gangle, Ragatha, nor even Pomni would pay him any mind. With Pomni, however, it would be different. At the end of the episode, she's still a bit worried about him, though of course they won't be friends like before. That's ruined for now. In short, Jax has essentially alienated everyone around him, except for Kinger. As for Kane, it's very difficult to say what his role would be now, as it's becoming predictably unpredictable when he's going to glitch out. As we saw at the end of the last episode, it seems his self-esteem is now also a cause of his constant failures, which could lead him to become an entity as sinister as AM, the AI the character is based on. The trigger for Kane to fail again would be the cast once again refusing to participate in another adventure. As we've seen in recent episodes, Kane seems to be getting fed up with no one enjoying his adventures anymore, developing a kind of envy that just makes him mock others, as happened with Zubul. But what will really set everything off is Kane giving into his corrupted side and starting to change the adventures. We wouldn't know it at first, we'd just see everyone going from a relaxing adventure to one adventure after another, until one of them tells Kane, "You're only making the joke take longer." But since the character's own AI no longer seems to obey its primary functions, it wouldn't listen to its cast members and would just do what it wants, but not in the right way, punishing them all for not obeying the one who is supposed to be their god. This is just one of several scenarios where the line could make sense. Others could be, Pomni says it to Jax during another argument between the two characters, a flashback where we learn more about Kaufmo's past, where he tries to tell one of his many bad jokes but none of them land, leading him to lose his sanity and subsequently abstract. Or maybe it's just a line from some NPC in an adventure, making a sarcastic reference to something, since Gooseworx sometimes just drops these lines in less important scenes. But returning to the first example, it's not out of the question for Kane to malfunction and for the entire world around him to begin to distort. Kinger, knowing various bugs that could help them, might be outsmarted by Kane, or someone like Jax could decide to betray them, basically going crazy, or even worse, abstracting at the worst possible moment after we explore the real reason his old best friend abstracted forever, destroying everything around him. This would bring it all to an end, leaving everything with a very confusing finale where no one knows what happened, creating a massive question for the viewer that will only be answered by watching the next episode, which will continue the story and subsequently mark the beginning of the true end.